Hey everyone, it's Natalie here from Schwink Nails. Thanks for tuning in today. This video is about prepping the nail for a new set of acrylics. I'm actually going to use forms this time around, so I'm going to remove the nail polish. I'm going to debulk the nail pretty thin because I'm going to use a colored acrylic, so I want a very thin layer of, just the natural acrylic. And then I'm also going to cut down the nail as well. And I'm going to do all this mainly using an e-file. So let's get started. As you guys can see, I'm using a carbide bit. I got this bit off Amazon as well as the drill. I really like the bits and the drill, of course. It does a great job. So I'm going to be using these bits throughout the video today. Something that I'm doing here is I did speed up the e-file, the speed of it, so the bit is going quite fast. A couple things to be careful of, which you may or may not know, is not staying in one spot because you'll create a heat spike and it will hurt yourself or the client. And also don't forget to turn it back down when you're done taking the polish off, because it doesn't need to go that fast when you're doing the other things. I mean, sometimes when you're debulking the nail, when it's really bulky, then of course you could turn it to a higher speed, but for general filing, you don't really need it that fast. So but I do like to turn it up pretty high for the removing of the nail polish. I think that works a lot better. So now that I'm almost done with this hand, you guys can see all of the dust and nail polish that I have created just on my paper towel. And I haven't even done very much with it. I'm actually looking into getting a better nail desk that has a built-in dust collector. But if anybody's watching this that is a nail tech, do you have any standalone dust collectors? And if you do you have a brand that you would recommend, or one that you like a lot, or one that you've used that you liked that isn't built into a desk? I'm just looking around because in case I don't get a nail desk with a built-in dust collector, I am interested in looking for a standalone. So let me know if you have any recommendations. Put it in the comments below. I'd really appreciate that so much. Okay, now that that dust is out of the way, let's create more dust. I'm going to trim these down to a pretty natural length. Again, I am using forms, so I don't want these tips to be very long. Plus, I have a baby, he's 7 months, so I have to keep my nails fairly short. And since I will be adding the extensions with the form, then I won't need these to be as long because I can do that with the form. Okay, you guys, please don't judge this hideous bleached towel. I was tired of cleaning up all that dust, so if it just falls in the towel, then I could just wash it. I have new towels, and they're very nice looking for my clients and friends that come over. So this is just for me doing my nails tonight on a whim. So don't judge my towel. So I don't know if you guys were able to tell that I switched the bits a couple of different times. I went from a sanding bit. Now I'm back to like a round cuticle bit almost. It's like got a round top, but it's almost like a teardrop. So I'm just testing some of these bits out. getting close to the skin as possible. I do like the bits that have the round tops on them because they are safety bits, so they won't cut your skin, which is really nice. I had to pause here because I forgot to turn the drill back down from when I had the sanding bit on there. So, whoops. But I'm just testing out some different bits and different speeds and such to see if I can get my cuticles pretty clean. I do have really bad cuticles. I don't know why. It's quite annoying. I probably actually don't put enough cuticle oil on them, each day. So that's probably the problem, but they're just bad. So that's one of my problems is cuticles. Does anybody have any tips for getting better cuticles? Put that in the comments because I'd really like to clean these babies up and, have less of the growth on my nail. All right, so on some of my nails, I've been getting some lifting. It's been a while since I had a fill, I think about 3 weeks, and that's kind of long for me. Like I mentioned before, my cuticles are bad, so I feel like if I don't keep up with the cuticles and then also keep up with my fills myself, then they tend to, just on the edges, like lift just on the edge. So I'm practicing. I'm a work in progress. I know I'm not really the best at nails, but I'm trying, and it's a bit harder on yourself sometimes, I feel like, especially when you're so busy. Like I said, I had a baby, and then when you do other people's nails, it's like you hardly have time to do your own. So I just went through all of my nails and sort of used the nippers to get those edges peeled up, and then now I am debulking, so I kind of have it at a high speed, not too high so it doesn't hurt the edges of my fingers if it slips, but I'm just going through to try to get it down to a pretty thin nail, so that way when I do my forms and my colored acrylic, that it won't be too bulky. So let's see how this goes. Something to note here is notice how I'm stabilizing my right hand on my left hand while I'm holding the drill, and I'm actually moving my right hand back and forth. Sometimes that helps when you're doing your opposite hand, the less dominant hand, or your non-dominant hand. I say less for myself because I'm pretty ambidextrous when it comes to certain things, but it helps to, just hold the E-file there and then move your hand back and forth. Sorry that the angle is funny here. I am using my less dominant hand and I'm trying to get into all these little areas and not cut myself. So I know that I'm, really kind of facing away from the camera for this last couple of fingers. So don't mind me, I'm almost done and I'll show you guys. So now I'm going to try to clean up the edges again. I already told you I had really bad cuticles, so it's like I just can't get this stuff off. So I'm going to try to push them. I'm going to try to scrape them. I'm going to try everything I can to make sure that this is a perfect application this time. And I probably should use a cuticle softener, but sometimes I feel like if I just scrape it off, then it will work best. Now that I pushed all the cuticles back and basically got them all off, I'm just going through some of them I couldn't get off, especially on the edges. Like I said, my cuticles are really bad, so they stick sometimes on the edges. So I'm just going to go through pretty quick and just try to get the cuticles off and then smooth over the whole nail with the sanding bit. Well, clearly I'm having issues with bits today, so I switched back to the cuticle bit. I don't use this one too often. I like to use a long, thin one with the rounded tip, but I'm going to see how this goes. It seems to be working so far, getting it off of the nail, so who knows. Sometimes I feel like bits are either too sharp, like too fine, I guess, or too coarse. And it's just sometimes difficult for me, I think, finding a good bit. Oops, sorry, I got off of the focus here a little bit, out of the frame. There we go. So I do like this bit. It's a bit big. I just don't have a tiny one, which I am going to get eventually. I do, like I said, I do have that longer, thin one, but I wanted a rounder actual cuticle bit, so this might work. This might work for today. All right, I switched one last time to a finer sanding bit. I'm just going through and actually smoothing the nail. I do have a sanding block, a finishing block that I really like, but I'm just gonna finish out with this. Again, thanks guys so much for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe and comment on any other videos that you might like to see, and also anything else that I mentioned in here. If you have any suggestions or comments for me, definitely put them in the comments. Thanks guys so much.